we're making a chunky infinity scarf, and we're going to double crochet in the back loop only. We are going to use an 8mm hook, and we are using the Bernat Softee chunky yarn. I'm making this video to help my friends learn how to crochet, and here we go. We are going to start with a slip knot. So we're gonna take a little bit of yarn, give ourselves a little bit of room to work, and we're gonna wrap the yarn around our 2 fingers. And we're gonna kind of droop the tail over the end here, and then we're gonna take this tail and we're gonna push it in through the back. Okay, we're gonna take our fingers out, we're gonna hold on to the tail, we're gonna tug onto the loop to tighten it, and now we have a slip knot. We're gonna put our hook into the knot, and we're gonna just pull on that tail and tighten it up. We don't want it too tight so that we can't move the needle or the hook through with the yarn. We want to kind of have a nice little glide. And we're going to start by chaining 20. So to do that, we are going to yarn over the hook, and we're just going to bring that and slide it right through that first little loop. That's 1 chain. We're going to yarn over and we're going to slide it through, and that is 2. Yarn over and in for 3. Yarn over and 4. Yarn over for 5. Yarn over for 6. Yarn over 7. Yarn over 8. Yarn over 9. And 10. And 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. And 20. Okay, so remember that tension is really important. You want to have things kind of staying in place, but you don't want it to be so loose that, you know, everything's falling out, but you also don't want it to be so tight that it's hard to move the needle through the yarn. So now we are actually going to double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. So if we look, we're going to count these little V's. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4 right there. So zoom back out so you can see what I'm doing. And now that we figured out where we're going, we're just going to yarn over, and we're going to push that needle in through that top loop. So we're in what we just made. And we're going to, some people, you know, yarn over this way, and that's fine. And you can pull through. And you're going to actually pull through 2 of these loops so that you have 2 left over. You're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through the next 2. That is a double crochet. Now, because you went into the 4th chain, these chains that you skipped are actually making your first double crochet. So that's 1 double crochet. Then we've got the one that we just made right here. That's 2 double crochets, okay? We're going to double crochet all the way across. So yarn over, and we're going to go through. Now, I don't technically yarn over. I actually just grab it from the back and I just pull it through. That's just what works for me. You do what works for you. As long as you have the right tension, you're going to be fine. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through 2. And yarn over, and we're going to pull through these 2. That's 3. Again, yarn over, pick up a loop, so you have 3 on the hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2 of them, and yarn over and pull through the last 2. That is 4 double crochets. Yarn over, in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Okay, so there's 5. If you need to pause the video or back it up and rewatch so that you can, understand, I'm gonna do a couple more just so that you can understand and see what I'm doing. But then I'm gonna just finish off this bit here. And if you need to pause to, work at your own pace, no big thing. Oop. If that happens and you've just dropped your hook out of your loop, no big deal. If you just tug on this loop just a little bit, pull up a little extra space, that's essentially a slip knot right there. So all you have to do is just tug back on this and it tightens back up, and voila, back to normal. So yarn over and in, pick up a loop, you have 3, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Perfect. I think we got, 7 here right now? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We'll do 10. Yarn over, in, pick up a loop, go through 2, and through 2. Yarn over, in, pick up a loop, pull through 2, and the last 2. Yarn over and pick up a loop, and in through 2, yarn over, through 2. Okay, so we've got 10 here. We have another few to go. So I'll meet you back here once you and I are both done. Okay, so I just wanted to actually show you this last stitch is kind of important, and sometimes people forget that it's there. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see, but if you don't see that stitch, which is right here, if you don't see that stitch, you'll actually, if you miss it on this end, you're going to actually start to go in. You're not going to make a complete rectangle, which is what you want. So what we're actually going to do, I'm just going to show you, we have 19 double crochets right now, and what we're going to do is finish this last one. So yarn over and make sure you get that last stitch, and we're going to pull up a loop and through 2 and through 2. So now you have like an actual square here. That's kind of important because, like I said, if you miss that last stitch, you're going to start, your work is just going to end up getting smaller and smaller. It's going to kind of start to go in rather than just staying straight, which is what we want. So now that you're at the end, we're gonna go up and we're gonna create another panel essentially on top of this one. So because we want to build up, we're gonna chain again, and for that we're gonna just wrap over the yarn over, and we're gonna pull through 1, and we're gonna do this for 3 chains. Yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through. Okay, so like this, this very last one over here that we had that kind of make a double crochet for us. That's exactly what this is doing right here. It's making a double crochet so that we can go up higher, and then we're actually going to flip the work over and we're going to work the other way. And now we're actually just going to be working in the back loop only, because that's going to make a cool texture and kind of make everything pop, so that you have a kind of a cool texture going up and down and up and down. So the way that you find your back loop is by looking at if you look at all these are actually, kind of chains themselves in a way. So what we're going to do is, because we've just made this double crochet, that's above this one. So we're going to look at this stitch, and when we turn it on its side, we see the V. We're gonna take this back V right here. So we're gonna work only in the back loops. Again, cool texture, pretty simple to do. So we're gonna double crochet the back loop only all the way across. Yarn over, insert into the back loop. We're gonna pull it through and yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, yarn over, find your back loop, insert and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Just get a little extra yarn right here. I like to have some extra yarn sitting next to me and not on the roll so that I don't mess up my tension. Everybody does things their own way. You do what works for you. So now we've got 3, and see how this one is now a little bit raised and this one's laying a little bit behind because we're working in the back loop. So we're going to keep doing that. Yarn over, insert into the back loop, pull up a loop and pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. I apologize if any of this is blurry or hard to see or hard to follow. This is actually the first video I've ever made doing this. I've been crocheting myself since 2001, so that's 18 years for me. So yeah, kind of crazy that this is the first time I'm doing this, but kind of fun at the same time, and I'm really hoping that it like helps my friends learn how to do this, because we're all having a little stitch and bitch together, and when they go home and they're like, I have no idea what I was supposed to do next, hopefully they can watch this video and it helps them figure it out. So hi everybody, hopefully this isn't too crazy for you guys, and sorry if it is. Feel free to pause anywhere that you need to make this make more sense. So anyways, we're getting down to the wire here. We're coming down to this last stitch that's important to make sure you grab, because especially when you're working the back loop only, it kind of like just blends in there. But if you really kind of separate everything, if you look real close, it's there. It's right here. So sometimes it just takes a minute to kind of eye it out. But so yarning over and pushing through that back loop right there. I'm going to take that out just so you can see it again. Here. It's right here. It is not way down here, because that will just kind of make all your work pull way down. That's not going to work. So just right there, gently, softly pull up that loop and pull through your 2. Now, if you remember from just a few moments ago, when we had to move up, we need to chain 3. That is going to create our first double crochet for the next row. So chain 1, yarn over and chain 2, and yarn over and chain 3. So again, flipping the work so that we can work the opposite direction. And we're going to do the same exact thing throughout this entire scarf. We are going to yarn over and we're going to find that back loop that we need. So it's not this one, because you already have a double crochet coming out of that stitch. So it's actually that second back loop. So yarn over and pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through the last 2. So again, we are going to go all the way across and just keep doing the back loop, double crocheting the whole way, so that we can get that cool up and down texture. And if you look now, you're actually going to start to see that, you know, the pop. How this one's down, this one's up, this one's down. So as you go, you're going to see more and more texture kind of popping through. Just getting a little more yarn for myself right here because my tension was getting a little bit tighter. You know, if anything starts to get too tight that you really have to force anything through, just back it up. You know, just take a couple stitches out. Don't be afraid to start something over. And if that's the case, just take your hook out and pull on this end, and you're gonna see that this is pulling through your those last 2 loops that were on your hook. And then if you pull it again, that's just pulling through the other 2 loops that you created. And so when you pull it all out of that back loop, you're left with your little slip knot at the top. So reinsert, tighten it up a little bit, and then just continue as you were before. Well, now, I'm going to show you something else that could happen, actually. As I'm pushing this through here, I'm trying to get just my back loop. My needle actually went all the way down and grabbed these 2 loops. That's not correct. This loop should not be on here because that loop is coming from the previous row. You want to make sure you're only getting the back loop from the row that you're working on. So yarning over and pushing through, pulling through, and pulling through. I'll tell you, man. Like I said, this is my first video. Please be kind, because it is very tricky to crochet with a camera in your lap. So hopefully I'm not doing too terrible of a job and everybody can kind of follow along. Hopefully I'm making sense, and hopefully you guys are giggling at me right now too. So again, here we go towards the last double crochet. So now this is where people again might be like, wait, where's my last stitch? Where did it go? Oh, I must be done. So now I'm going to show you what's going to happen if you actually miss that stitch. I'm going to show you what happens. So you're going to go, oh, okay, I'm done. So it's time to move on. So we're going to build up a row. So we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to flip our work and we're going to work in the back loop only. So let me just do a few, sorry about that. Do a few stitches here so that you guys can see. Oh, I just grabbed from the previous row on that hook. I had too many there. So here we go. So here we go. That should get you through. So when you look at that, you're not getting that rectangular, you know, chunk that you're supposed to have. So something's wrong. So, you know, pull everything back out. Don't be afraid to, you know, to kind of start back over if need be. So I'm going to go back to my previous row and I'm going to reinsert my hook and I'm going to say, you know what, there's got to be something I'm missing. So where is it? So if you kind of turn that over and you flatten it out a little bit, you're going to see this stitch right here, that loop. So, you know, make sure that you really get that last stitch, because that's what's gonna make you more narrow in your project. And with an infinity scarf, because you're gonna take, you know, your beginning end and the future end of your project and actually sew them together, you need to have, you know, your stitches match. The alternate thing that could happen is that you're actually adding a stitch. So you're thinking, oh, well, this looks like I'm still missing something, so it's got to be over here somewhere. So you actually end up stitching into your chains on the side over here. So say if you do that, you're gonna, you know, okay, that's the end of my row. I'm gonna chain up my 3, and I'm gonna keep going. Well, if you look at that, what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna end up building out wider than you're supposed to be. I think for me, understanding why things happen in crochet really helps me to figure out like how to even make up my own little pattern of something that I want to know. So yeah, now you're seeing that you have, you know, this normal rectangle, and then you're seeing that this is building out. So again, not what you want. So pull all that stuff out, make it go away. And now we are back to our original row with the extra stitch, because it almost looks like you can tell too, like, oh, okay, everything's building on top of each other here. You know, 1, 2, and we even have 3. Now we have 1, 2, and then we have these 2 on top of this 1. That's not correct. So take that out, and this is what you're looking for. And sometimes you have to stretch it a little bit. You can see what's happening. Don't be afraid to pull on it, you know, as long as your hook is there, or if you need to really pull on it and you want to take your hook out, give yourself some extra room, and then put your hook down and kind of, you know, give it a little love. Stretch it out a little bit. And then you can go back and just kind of hang your hook on there and pull it tight. And then we're gonna build up again. We're gonna chain 3. 1 and 2 and 3. So this gives you the basis of what you're gonna be doing. You're gonna do this the whole entire 2 balls of yarn that you need to do, and then we're gonna meet back here and I'm gonna show you how to finish it. So happy hooking. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the process and not wanting to kill me. Good luck. I'll see you back here when I have my 2 balls done. Okay guys, so when it comes time to change to the second skein of yarn, all you're gonna do is hold your yarn like you've been, you know, holding it, whatever way's comfiest. You're just gonna grab it, and you're actually just gonna pull it through that loop that you have at the top, and then you're just gonna pull on old yarn to tighten up on the top, and then you're gonna pull the new yarn and you're gonna tighten up on top. So basically you're starting anew, and then what you're gonna do is you're actually going to just go around these pieces and lock them into the next stitch, next couple stitches if you can. So just yarning over and going into your stitch like normal, and then you're gonna pull up your loop, and all these pieces are just stuck right underneath in through that spot. So pretending they're not there, yarning over and pulling through 2, yarning over and pulling through 2, and you know, for good measure, let's do it again. Yarn over into your stitch, pushing these down and out of the way, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You will have these little, you know, bits back here that you'll need to take a tapestry needle and weave back in so that you don't have the tails, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a couple of minutes. Okay, so I changed my yarn over and I continued to make the rest of the scarf, and you know, I'm gonna weave my ends in now. So you can see that this is where you dig in there a little bit. This is where it changed over and went under a few of the stitches, and now we're just gonna take our tapestry needle and thread it. And what we're going to do is we're going to weave this back and forth in through the stitches. And if you go back and forth a few times, it's going to lock the stitch in and it won't come out, you know, even if you wash it or, you know, wear it a lot. So that's back and forth, that 3 times. Just kind of pull it and stretch it out so it blends in a little bit. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other tail that's left out. And maybe we'll just go this way so that it's not too bulky. The other way, in the inside of those stitches. Oop. Drop that. Now, sometimes this happens where you run out of stuff to work with, so if you actually just take your needle and put it in, we'll run it down a little bit this way to make it blend. If you put your needle in and then just rethread it, it's going to work out a little bit better. If it wants to get in there, there we go. Okay, we'll just pull that through. There we go. So then you're going to take your trusty scissors, clip that excess off, and that's all going to blend right into your scarf. Then you're going to actually go back to the beginning of your scarf because you had this tail that you also need to weave in, and you're going to do the same thing on the beginning of the scarf. So we'll do that, and then I'll get back to you in just 1 minute. Okay, so now we've come to the end of your scarf. You want to make sure that you have a little bit of leftover yarn because you're actually going to take this and you're going to put the 2 ends together and you're going to just like shoelace it, sew it together. So make sure you have enough room for that. So when you have your last stitch, the way to end this is to just yarn over and pull this through that last loop, because that will make a knot. Oop. Okay, there we go. We're just going to make a knot to secure it and set that aside. We're going to get the beginning of the scarf and we're going to match them up. Make sure that you have laid this flat so that you don't have, you know, any twists or turns, because obviously once you sew it together, there's a twist in there. It's not really going to look right. So, taking the end, threading it, and then we're just gonna match up our stitches. So when you put them together, you kind of see how you're gonna stitch them together. This is a lot of extra tail here, but it's fine. We will have more than enough. And you don't need to be like extremely exact with this. As long as it's looking like it's straight, you don't need to worry if it's the same exact stitch that you're going into from side to side. Probably left a little too much to be pulling through because now it's knotting up on itself. So what we'll do is finish pulling this through here. And for me, I'm gonna pull some of this and cut off some excess because we just have too much. There we go. You know, some people could go back and forth on this just for good measure. I have such a long tail that maybe I'll do that. I don't think you really need to, but it's here, why not? Because this is going to leave you with a little bit of a tail, basically just going to do what you did before with the tails that you need to weave in prior, and just go back and forth 3 times to really secure it. Pull it just a little bit so if it stretches out, it's not going to get pulled out too much. Good old Duggan. Clip it. And, boy, hard to get that in a frame. You've got yourselves a chunky infinity scarf. Yahoo! Hopefully this was easy enough to follow for everybody. And hopefully you guys like it and you'll wear it and it will be great. Thank you for watching!